Hi, my name is Christian. I'm from Gibson Township here in Susquehanna County, and today I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to sit down and talk with you about the importance of voting in this November election to support your LGBTQ plus friends, family, and neighbors. Over the past couple of decades, we've made some serious strides forward when it comes to protections for queer people, decriminalizing our existence, and other things like hate crime laws. But it wasn't that long ago that being queer in the United States was still criminalized. I was already 10 years old in 2003 when the United States Supreme Court finally struck down the criminal laws that made my existence illegal. Let that sink in. Only 4 years before I realized I was gay and started to come out of the closet, my existence was illegal in my own home. So it wasn't that long ago that we had some serious problems and some serious persecution against queer people, and it hasn't stopped. Unfortunately, if you look all the way back to the 80s when Ronald Reagan was ignoring the HIV/AIDS epidemic and just intentionally letting an entire community of people die because they voted the wrong way, up until now, last year we had over 600 pieces of legislation introduced across the country that target LGBTQ plus people. They range across a whole wide array of topics, whether it's stripping away housing protections, banning gender-affirming care, not just for minors, but for adult human beings up to the age of 26. Multiple states tried to introduce that law. There are plenty of other things like workplace protections. They're constantly trying to strip these away in the face of data that shows that the number one killer of queer people in the United States is suicide. Unfortunately, these reactionary legislators put their hatred before serving the public good, and they do so knowing that suicide is the number one killer in the queer community. They are passing these laws to make our lives hell so that we kill ourselves. Unfortunately, in states that have passed these types of laws, like Tennessee, we've seen already an uptick in deaths. So I know a lot of people like to talk about things like the economy, or if we want to get more local, zoning laws, as though they are, big issues. For a lot of the queer people that you know and love, this is our life that we're talking about. So if you are going into the voting booth, please inform yourselves about these politicians' stances on queer rights, the entire gamut of queer rights, from decriminalization all the way up to workplace protection, housing protection, etc. Please educate yourself, and if you find yourself considering voting for an anti-LGBTQ plus politician for whatever reason, maybe you think they're better on crime or the economy, please consider that depending on which generation you're talking about, between 10 to 30% of the population is queer people. So whether, that one person out of 10 or one person out of 3 is your child, whether they are your uncle, your aunt, maybe they're not in your family, maybe it's a friend you have who's a queer person, or a neighbor like me, if you're over in Gibson. They're counting on you to go into that voting booth in November and vote for somebody who will stand up for their basic human rights. Unfortunately, we're at a place now where that's what it's coming down to. You have legislators who want to take away basic human rights, to recriminalize our existence, and to try to drive us to suicide and death by making our lives hell. Or you have legislators and other politicians who want to actually support us and make sure that we get the same dignity and respect that anybody should get. So when you go into that voting booth on November 5th, make sure that you keep in mind the people who are counting on you for their basic rights.